Now, how to understand critical elements like liquidity preference, liquidation preference, options pool, and board seats. Liquidation preference would mean that in the scenario of an exit of an investor, we have given him extra returns. So if an investor has $500,000 worth of preference shares and $500,000 worth of plain vanilla equity shares, then we have given a 2x option to the investor in the preference share section. So when the sale of the company or some future liquidity event happens, then the investor will get double return on his preference shareholding because it is a 2x liquidity preference. So it is additional sweetener for the investor to tell him that he will earn more money if he invests. Similarly, on the exit side, there are 5-6 ways in which there are exits. The first option is an IPO. Every investor really wants the company to come out with an IPO within 5 years. In many cases, it is not possible. So if an IPO doesn't happen, then the second step in the exit side is that the company will appoint a third-party valuer and get a third investor. If the existing investor shares will be sold at a certain IRR, internal rate of return, something like 20%, to the third-party investor. If this also doesn't happen, then the third option is that the company will buy back the equity from the investor. So Reliance keeps on doing it. They keep on buying their own shares. So these shares are held as investment in the treasury, and they can liquidate it anytime. It becomes like an asset. So the company will buy back. The fourth option is if first three doesn't happen, then the founders will buy back the equity from the existing investor at a certain IRR. Now in India, for all practical purposes, these clauses are not so binding because equity is risk capital. So you can't force anyone else to buy your equity. So, but it's more of a relationship thing. I have seen many cases in which the founders, they actually buy back equity and give a proper exit to the investor. But in most of the cases, it doesn't happen. Then last is options pool. It's around ESOP pool, which is around 15 to 25%. And the option pool, the ESOP pool is distributed in a reverse pyramid fashion. So if you are senior in the company, you get more share of ESOPs. If you are junior, you get less. So this is the typical structure.